Your relationship with your dog is unique. They might be friendly with other people, but I'm sure you've noticed that he has a special way of greeting you through the door, or in the way they look at you, or even when they choose your legs specifically to fall asleep against, even though there are other warm legs they could choose. You probably think that they choose you simply because they love you, but there's a whole process going through their brain. What's actually happening is that your dog has a set of behaviors they reserve, mostly or entirely, for the one person in their life they're most attached to. And science has shown for years which of these behaviors they are. Here are 7 of them. They recognize your voice. Your dog hears your voice every day. So does anyone else who lives with you. But your dog's brain treats your voice differently from any other. A 2023 study tested whether dogs can identify individual humans by voice alone. They recorded the voices of every adult in each dog's household, and then played the recordings while the dog had to choose between them. The dogs performed above chance for every family member they were tested on, which means that, yes, they could pick out each person by voice. But the performance was best when they heard their primary owner's voice. That means that your dog eventually will understand the patterns and tone of your voice, and that alone will make you recognizable to them, even if you are not physically present. Their tail wags more to the right when they see you. You've probably noticed that your dog wags its tail when they see you. A 2007 study showed that dogs wag their tails asymmetrically, and the side of the wag is a direct readout of what they're feeling. They put 30 mixed-breed dogs in a setup with cameras tracking the precise angle of each tail movement, and exposed them to 4 stimuli: the owner, an unfamiliar human, a cat, and an unfamiliar dominant dog. Seeing the owner produce the strongest right-biased wag of any stimulus, the unfamiliar human produced a smaller right bias. The cat, less still. The unfamiliar dominant dog produced the opposite, a strong left-biased wag. The reason has to do with brain hemispheres. The left side of the brain handles approach and positive emotion, and it controls the right side of the body. The right side of the brain handles withdrawal and negative emotion, and it controls the left side. So a right-biased wag means the left brain is firing, the side that says, "I want to be near this." Your dog's tail can't fake this. When they see you, the asymmetry shows up automatically, and it shows up more strongly for you than for anyone else they were tested against. They catch your yawning more than anyone else's. You've probably heard that yawning is contagious, and you're right, but did you know that dogs will also yawn if you do? And not only that, but very quickly if you are their favorite person. A study from the University of Tokyo ran a test with 25 dogs where they watched their owner perform a yawn and a stranger perform a yawn in randomized order. The dogs were also monitored for heart rate to rule out the possibility that yawning was a stress response rather than a social one. The dogs yawned significantly more often in response to their owner than to the stranger. Heart rate data confirmed they weren't distressed in either condition. The familiarity bias is the key finding. Dogs caught yawns from the person they were emotionally closest to, and not as much from anyone else. The closer the bond, the stronger the contagion. They greet you with a high intensity. Have you ever traveled for a weekend and, when you returned home, your dog got very euphoric with your arrival? In 2011, a study was conducted where dogs were separated from their owners for either 30 minutes, 2 hours, or 4 hours, and then filmed during the reunion. The pattern that came out was clear. The longer the separation, the more intense the greeting. More tail wagging, more physical contact, more sustained attention in the minutes after the owner came back. The dogs were calibrating their response to how long they'd been apart. Another 2014 study from the same line of work found that dogs greet their owner with more contact-seeking and faster reaction times than they greet a stranger walking in under identical conditions. Even a friendly, familiar non-owner doesn't trigger the same response. Greeting intensity is one of the cleanest behavioral signatures of which human your dog has bonded to. They check your face when they don't know what to do. When dogs encounter something they don't understand, such as a new object or an unfamiliar sound, they look at you before deciding how to respond. Researchers call this social referencing, and it's the same thing human babies do with their parents. A study tested to see how dogs react to unfamiliar objects. They placed an electric fan with green plastic ribbons attached in a room with the dog and the owner. The dogs consistently looked at the owner before deciding whether to approach the fan, and they adjusted their behavior based on what the owner's face was doing. If the owner smiled and spoke positively, the dog moved toward the fan. If the owner looked alarmed, the dog stayed back or moved away. In a follow-up version of the same study, the researchers compared owners to strangers as the source of emotional information. The dogs referred to the owner more readily and weighted the owner's reaction more heavily, even when both people were present and equally available. When they don't know what to expect, your face signals to your dog how to react. They avoid people who are unkind to you. In 2015, a study was performed where 28 owners came into the lab with their dogs. The owner would struggle to open a transparent container, while 2 other people sat nearby. In one condition, one of those people helped the owner open the container. In another, that person was asked for help and turned away, refusing. There was always a third, neutral person who didn't interact at all. After the interaction, each of the people would offer the dog a piece of food. The dogs then took the food from the helper and the neutral person at roughly equal rates. However, the person who refused to help was avoided by the dogs. This is remarkable because the dogs were tracking a social interaction they had no involvement in whatsoever. The containers had no food inside, so the dog wasn't affected by the first part of the study. That means the dog punished the person who was unkind to their tutor, as they are empathetic to you. It's interesting to point out that the same study was replicated with cats, and the cats did not repeat the same pattern. So this is really a dog thing. They get jealous when you give attention to someone else. A 2014 study filmed 36 dogs in their own homes, while each owner did one of 3 things: interact affectionately with a realistic stuffed dog that barked, whined, and wagged its tail, interact with a jack-o'-lantern pail, or read a children's book aloud. The results split cleanly along social lines. 78% of the dogs pushed at or nudged the owner when the owner was being affectionate with the stuffed dog. 42% did so when the owner was attending to the pail. Only 22% reacted when the owner was reading. About 30% of the dogs tried to physically insert themselves between the owner and the stuffed dog. A quarter of them snapped at it. That showed that dogs react more when they understand there is a social rival around their owner. The book wasn't a rival, so they didn't care. The pail was less of a rival, so they cared less. The stuffed dog was the closest thing to a real competitor for the owner's attention, and that's the condition that triggered the strongest response. So, your dog reacts to your voice alone. Their tail movement reveals positive emotion at the brain hemisphere level when they see you. Their yawning catches yours specifically. Their greeting intensity scales to how long you've been gone. They check your face when they need information about the world. They watch how other people treat you and remember it. And when someone else gets the attention they consider theirs, they try to take it back. Those are all layers of what science has studied to show that you are a very special person to them. Now it's your turn. Tell us in the comments, did any of these factors resonate with how your dog behaves with you? Let us know, and if you are interested in understanding more about dogs and their psychology, subscribe to Dog Lunar and hit the bell to not miss any of our future videos. And here's some other videos if you want to know more about dogs and their world.